And welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I'm still Ben Reeves. I don't change. Never will, never have. But today I'm joined by two special guests from the second Extinction team out in Malmo, Sweden, which is crazy far away, so I'm sure it's super late for you guys. So thanks for being on the show. But I have the lead producer, Brynley Gibson.
Hello.
And product owner, Julianne Hart. Hardy. I'm sorry.
Hart. Yep.
I'm not familiar with the job title product owner. What exactly does that do?
So I am kind of focused more on looking at the game as more of like, well, a product, right? Which sounds very kind of businessy, but it is a bit more, not necessarily looking at the game in terms of design decisions, but also in terms of service related decisions. So if we're trying to position Second Extinction as it's a game as a service, there's going to be updates and a very long tail for a good long amount of time. And so what my role is to kind of see what our players are saying, see what the market industry are doing in terms of good practices, and see what we as a team want to do and kind of incorporate those sorts of elements into the game as it goes along. So that's probably the longest winded answer to your question.
Yeah,
but
what do you do for a living? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
No, it's great. We love deep dives here. So you guys are working on, as we said, Second Extinction, which is a game, if people aren't familiar, 3-player co-op game where you land on an alien planet that's full of dinosaurs, and then you go shoot them, which sounds perfect.
It's actually not an alien planet. It's a near future Earth.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you guys are aware that dinosaurs are extinct, right?
Well,
Not these
Are they? That's the real question.
Breaking news. So future Earth, thanks for correcting me. But just the idea of it's a shooter where you hunt dinosaurs, it's like peanut butter and chocolate, right? It's such a brilliant idea of two things, and I don't feel like we get it a lot. I feel like we haven't had something like this since Turok. Why do you feel like there aren't more dinosaur hunting games?
I mean, I think there's a couple of reasons for it. I mean, there are dinosaur games out there, and we're going for a kind of very typically, due to our heritage, sort of avalanche approach. We're Systemic Reaction, which is the sort of self-publishing arm of Avalanche. I mean, one thing is complexity, right? Shooting humans, and it's just easier to build and make. Whereas if you have animals with different skeletons and different movements, it's a bit more tricky, and you need a bit more size of team to pull that kind of thing off. But I also think there's a certain movie franchise out there that maybe has de-toothed dinosaurs a little bit. So for
Star
some
Wars?
people, they're kind of the feeling of they're a bit cuddly, more like pets, and we want to make them not pets. We want to bring back the fear. Oh God, if you met one in the street, man, you would not feel good about it. You would run away screaming, and that's very much our intention. So we want to make sure when you see these evil mutant dinos, you want to kill them because they're both evil and mutant.
That's whatever that's how I feel whenever I see a dinosaur skeleton in a museum, for sure. I just want to break that thing.
Terrifying.
But you guys aren't just dealing with normal dinosaurs either. As you said, they're mutant dinosaurs. Like, what kind of mutations will these dinosaurs have?
We have, I guess, two different ways of kind of changing our dinos. I mean, firstly, even our kind of base version of any species that we have, they're mutants from the off. We wanted them to be recognizably dinosaurs, but with a monstrous vibe. So if you saw it from a distance, you'd think, that's a raptor. I know that silhouette. But as you got close to it, you think, no, there's something off about it. Its eyes are weird, and it's got too many teeth and too many claws. So they're all mutants, and they all act, as a one entity, like working together. So herbivores and carnivores, they're not attacking each other; they're all working against you. And then we have these kind of like specialized mutations that layer on top of that. So take our raptor, for example. We start off with a watcher variant. He's actually like a tiny little version of the raptor, and he calls other enemies alongside him. So you have to take him out quickly. But then we have another one, which is sort of inspired by cuttlefish of all things, which is like hypnotic raptor that can go invisible and can flashbang the player. So really, it's been quite a challenge to kind of tone things down and just keep our creativity steady, so we can sort of steadily build up all the different enemies that we want to have. No shortage of ideas.
Well, it sounds like you guys are so preoccupied with whether or not you can, you haven't stopped to think if you should.
It's true. It's true.
True.
Well, can you talk about the other side of this, which is the people hunting the dinosaurs? What kind of weapons, equipment will they have? What are the cool guns that you'll have?
Sure. So the idea of the player characters, we're going to start off when we go into early access, 4 characters, and these are survivors. They're not necessarily trained soldiers, though some of them have sort of some training in their backgrounds, and they survived the initial onslaught when the dinosaurs turned up and wiped out most of humanity. And they're now this kind of ragtag paramilitary force, if you like, who are coming back to Earth to try and take them out. And as you expect from this kind of shooter, there is classes. There's like a heavy class and a support class, and then a kind of all-rounder trooper class that we have. But each character themselves, they fit with one of those classes, but then they have their own abilities and their own weapon unlock structure that they get to have.
Is there some kind of like narrative structure to this? Is there like a king dinosaur that you're hunting, like some super smart dinosaur?
Well, essentially, the narrative is that we're trying to reclaim Earth. The dinosaurs, emerged. They wiped out so much of humanity. Whatever's left kind of disappeared into the stars, and they're looking to come back to Earth to reclaim it. So one of the things, obviously, that you need to have is knowledge of your enemy, knowledge of your battlefield, knowledge of what you're fighting against. And so when the game originally starts, a lot of that is kind of focused on that acquisition of knowledge or the acquisition of research. And these research points that you obtain through missions and stuff like that will be helping with the greater narrative of finding out more about these dinos, but also contributes to what's known as the war effort, a system within our game structure that changes as a response to people contributing research and their actions on the playing field.
And this sounds
All
like
about it.
yeah, it's like a global effort. So this is like other people playing on other systems across the world contribute to this war effort, you're saying?
Yep. So the basic essence is that the regions that we have a presence in, we being humanity or underneath the title ERA, they have what's known as a threat rating. Some areas kind of a low threat, not so many dinosaurs doing too many things. Some areas are like kind of like a threat level 2 that's a bit more active, a bit more kind of nutso. And then there's the threat level 3, which is kind of real crazy, intense stuff. Like you're not going to get out of there with too much victory, I guess, because it is just absolutely crazy. And the more that you run these missions in these threat areas, like if you really feel up to the challenge, you grab your buddies, you dive down into threat level 3, you deal with that. You encourage more people in the community to come down and deal with threat level 3. And the more that people kind of focus in that area, that threat level will change and it'll shift. It'll drop back down again. But our dinosaurs are a bit crafty. I mean, they've managed to survive, 300 billion years without being kind of stupid in this regard. And so you'll deal with them in one area and then they'll pop right back up again in another ones. And so it's a ever-changing kind of difficulty format that responds to what the players are doing on a week-on-week type of basis. And then, of course, if you leave threat level 3 and you don't deal with it, then we have what's known as an emergence event where something kind of big and crazy will come out of that region. It could be, massive T-Rex and a whole bunch of her babies. It could be a particular mutation of one of the raptors that have just kind of spread out amongst the region, with their poison gas or whatever. And these are kind of randomized encounters that will just pop up as a result of this war effort having been acted on or not being acted on in this case. And so it really provides a very dynamic playing field. Well, I keep saying playing field. It's a battlefield. It really provides a very dynamic battlefield for people to come in, and it will change, on a frequent basis based on the actions of the community.
Sure. So you're saying nature finds a way ultimately.
Nature finds a way.
And it also sounds like, war is the ultimate bad guy. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, I always make the comment that humanity's greatest enemy is humanity, but it's not so much here. We're very much united at this point in time, focusing on reclaiming our homeland, reclaiming Earth. That is not a single battle. That is not a single, Independence Day cigar in your mouth. That's going to be this ongoing effort that will not only evolve with the players, but also, the enemies and the systems and everything will also evolve as a response. So the things will change, things will adapt, things will increase, decrease. There will always be something new and different that comes in, and that evolves as part of a narrative. As we find out more about these dinosaurs and what's happening and why it happened, and stuff like that, and what we can do about it.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys are planning this for PC and Xbox systems as well as Series X as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What's it been like working on the new next-gen systems?
It is always fun when you get your hands on the new bit of kit. It's very exciting, especially when it's all a bit secret. As developers, we're fans of games as well. So, we're like, haha, look, we know. So just from a fanboy's point of view, there is that excitement side of things. But it also opens up, opportunities. Obviously, certain systemic things that the new hardware could do, but also just the power, and being able to get the kind of mayhem, the action that we want to have with this game. It's a very visceral game. Being able to throw more onto a console screen, which we get to do with more power, that's great. A great looking game that plays silky smooth, and yeah, it means we can pull off more.
So is the next gen version going to be much different than the current gen version?
Well, you're going to be able to play cross generationally, like with the Xbox. So in terms of the actual gameplay, it has to be the same. We need people to have a comparable experience, but it will be able to look, improved as you would do. So I mean, if you look at it also if you look at the PC landscape, we have a minimum and a maximum spec of range, and those players will expect to play together. But for some, it will look that bit sharper, and that's the immersion you get from that. The more action that's getting on the screen, then that is an enhanced experience.
Yeah, for sure. One thing you guys just announced was the early access is coming out in September, which is very exciting. Why should people be excited to check this out?
So early access is our chance to really get input on what the community really kind of feels about our game and how much it resonates. We have a pretty solid game as it is now. I mean, you jump in, you shoot dinosaurs. It's a hell of a lot of fun, especially if you do it with a whole bunch of friends, because it is a co-op game. And so, yeah, that's really, really kind of tight. What we want to hear back from is what more can we do with it? How do we create a game that best reflects what our players kind of both expect from a dinosaur shooting game and what they expect from our game and our team as well. I mean, we're a relatively small team, altogether, which means that we have the bonus of being quite flexible in a lot of ways. And so, and that kind of nimbleness enables us to kind of take back what people have to say and say, okay, that would be actually a really neat idea or something that we can experiment with. Like, we could create up a horde mode version and see how that goes. And if people really love it, then we're like, okay, yeah, well, let's start tweaking things and seeing how well that goes. We could introduce, different kind of tweaks in terms of balancing around the difficulties with the threat levels, right? And if you jump into the threat level 3 with your with your 2 pals and think, well, okay, this is kind of a bit of a cakewalk, not what I was expecting, we'll just jump back in and ramp that back up again. So a lot of it is designed so that we can start tuning the game to best reflect what our players will want in a dinosaur shooting game. And I think there's a lot of I hate to say I feel like there's a lot of expectation on the types of dinosaurs that we're going to throw in there. I believe there's a couple of forum threads already saying, this is my long laundry list of every dinosaur that I want to see in the game. And that's really kind of cool, and people are already designing their own, mutated dinosaurs, which is fantastic. I love to see that kind of stuff, and so that kind of input, we're making the game with our players, and that's where we felt that early access was the best avenue, the best route to get accustomed to it.
For sure.
Now, can I just add something? I would like to say that it's a pretty fully fledged experience that we have right now. And it's really about realizing the potential of the game. We think there is something special. Like, I've pitched this concept to all the devs that we've hired, platform holders, and there's something that happens when you say it's all about evil mutant dinosaurs have taken over the Earth. You have to fight to get the planet back, and then people just normally there's a moment and then they grin because there's just something about it. That line just sells people, and so we know there's something there. Great. And we've got something cool already, and we just want to push it to that next level. And it does feel like early access. That's going to be the best way for us to get that feedback and work with the community to really fine tune it. So, we're really excited to get this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Are you guys going to let people play as the dinosaurs? Is there a mode where you can play as dinosaurs?
That has been suggested. It has not been on our plan because obviously we want to kill the dinosaurs, but if there is a strong enough interest, that may be something we explore. For
sure. And is the plan then, after this early access, to release the game later this year?
I wouldn't say this year. That's a bit ambitious given that there's only 3-4 months left.
I believe in you guys. You can do it.
No, well, I mean, yes. Our ultimate end goal is to launch the product, but we'll launch it when we feel like it's in its ready state. And it could be, any period of time, but we do have a rough roadmap of things that we're going to introduce through early access so that you will always have something to look forward to as, in terms of frequent content drops or whatever. And plus, patching and adjustments based upon the data and information that we get back. And so when our player base feels like we're ready and when we feel like we're ready is when we will be looking at actually launching the game.
For sure. Well, I feel like this is a boring question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm a skilled interviewer. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Well, for me, it's the Stegosaurus, which isn't in this game at the moment. Anyway,
come on, man, you're making the game. You can put it in there.
Well, there was a lot of conversation. I mean, there was a lot of discussions around dinosaurs. And why do I like it? I like it because it's kind of cute, but it's also armored, like insanely. Spiked tail, big plates. It's pretty awesome. So I'm team Stegosaurus for the win. But I might have to. There's a long list of dinos out there. They did exist for a long period of time, and much contest.
Julianne, do you have a favorite?
When I was a kid, mine was the Triceratops because of Land Before Time. I was a big fan of that movie as a kid, and I got like some little Pizza Hut puppet thingy at the time. But then I read the book Jurassic Park and fell in love with I don't know what their official name is, but I call them the chompies. They're the really little tiny chicken things that will just swarm you and paralyze you and just gobble you up. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
So
I think they're called
I think they're
compies.
really cool. There's a very likelihood of them being in the game.
If they eat
So
meat.
this is my Triceratops fossilized tooth that I have. So this is billions of years old. It's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah, the tooth fairy hoarded that for you, huh?
Yeah, we're thinking that we're going to give them out to our team. Like for every year they're here, they can get like a whole sort of necklace.
You get a full, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. That's a good idea. Cool. Well, any final thoughts, guys? You feeling good about the game so far?
Yeah. I mean, this is of all the games I've made, this is by far the kind of gamiest game. It's like so full on, and it's an honest game in many ways. It does what it says on the tin. It's very straightforward and it's a lot of fun. And I can't wait till people start playing it with us and get their thoughts. And I hope they enjoy it as much as we are enjoying making it right now.
Cool. Well, Brynley and Julianne, I appreciate you guys taking the time to be on the show. Looking forward to shooting some dinosaurs, and I'm sure you guys are looking forward to the feedback. So, Second Extinction, early access in September. Check it out. And thanks for watching the Game 4 show.